Good morning, viewers. You're watching Republic TV. My name is Priyanka Das and welcome to today's segment of Quick Morning, where we delve into the latest news and updates from around the country and across the world to set the tone for your day. From tracking the Supreme Court hearing of the RG amid calls for Roy's death sentence to Marco Rubio swearing in as the US State Secretary. Stay tuned as we at Republic TV bring you the ground realities of these developments. But that's not all. We'll also be bringing you the latest updates from the realms of business, sports and entertainment in our jam-packed lineup for this morning. So let's kickstart today's Mega News Day here on Republic, as always with the nation first this quick morning. External Affairs Minister Dr. S Jaishankar, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs Takeshi Abhaya and Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong arrived for the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting at the Department of State. Rubio will hold his first bilateral meeting with EAM S Jaishankar here later today. The meeting between the two diplomats representing the world's oldest and largest democracies would take place at the Foggy Bottom headquarters of the State Department, soon after the first Quad Ministerial. The Supreme Court will take up the suo motu case today related to the rape and murder of a trainee doctor at Kolkata's RG Medical College and Hospital. This development follows a Kolkata court's ruling sentencing Sanjay Roy to imprisonment till death, fueling widespread demand for death penalty. Judge said that the crime did not fall under the rarest of the rare category, which justified not imposing the death penalty or the convict.
पूरा परिवार का साथ बात हुआ। पिताजी माताजी को मैं नमन किया और उनका जो स्टैंड है कॉम्पेंसेशन रिफ्यूज करते हुए आगे का लड़ाई के लिए सुप्रीम कोर्ट हाई कोर्ट का जो उन्होंने कर रहा है उसको मैं कुर्निश करते हुए आगे का जो लीगली कानूनी लड़ाई होगा इसमें हम सब लोग इस परिवार का साथ रहेगा, एक कमिटमेंट के लिए मैं आया था।
The Yogi government will hold a special cabinet meeting at the Mahakumbh today. According to an official statement, all 54 ministers of the UP cabinet have been invited to the meeting, which is expected to approve several significant proposals and schemes for the state. Following the meeting, Chief Minister Yogi, along with his cabinet colleagues, will take a holy dip in the Sangam. The Ram Mandir Trust is set to commemorate the first anniversary of the consecration of the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya with grand celebrations. The event marks the installation of Lord Ram Lalla in the Grand Palace on January 22, 2024. The festivities will feature various religious rituals and cultural programs with participation from renowned personalities, including India's leading religious leaders and celebrated artists. The Maharashtra government has suspended the distribution of delayed birth and death certificates until further notice. Following a surge in complaints regarding their issuance, a special investigation team has been set up by the State Home Department to investigate these complaints. In a significant move, Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has taken cognizance of a complaint regarding a birth certificate scam involving the Bangladeshi Rohingyas. This development comes after allegations surfaced of a scam in which fake birth certificates were being issued to Bangladeshi Rohingyas, potentially granting them Indian citizenship. The initial investigating officer Sudarshan Gaikwad has been replaced by Ajay Lingnurkar in the actor Saif Ali Khan's stabbing case. This change comes amid ongoing investigations after Saif returned home yesterday. The 54-year-old actor underwent a neurosurgery to treat a spinal injury and a plastic surgery to repair wounds on his neck and hands at the Leelavati Hospital after he was stabbed by an intruder. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee emphasized that it was the BSF's responsibility to protect the international boundary and urged locals in Malda district to avoid visiting the border areas if there are problems. The Chief Minister's comment comes after tension erupted on the India-Bangladesh border near a BSF outpost in Malda district on January 18. Banerjee also urged the district administration and locals to keep a watchful eye on people who are trying to sneak into India or taking accommodation in hotel rooms with ulterior motives. asserting that a probe is underway to unravel the mystery behind 17 deaths in Rajouri, Jammu and Kashmir. Chief Minister Omar Abdullah assured people that all questions will be answered soon. Abdullah said building big hospitals everywhere is not possible, but inadequacy in the health sector at district levels will be addressed to provide better healthcare facilities. So far, 17 lives have been lost due to the mysterious deaths.
मैं यकीन दिलाता हूँ आपको कि ये तीनों जो इसमें एफर्ट्स हैं, सिविल इंतज़ामिया की तरफ से, पुलिस के सिट के तरफ से और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की टीम के तरफ से मिलके हम इस जो हुआ है यहाँ पे, इसके तमाम जो सवालात आए हैं उनका जवाब हम खोज के निकाल लेंगे.
The Supreme Court will hear today the plea of AIMIM candidate and Delhi riots accused Tahir Hussain, seeking interim bail for campaigning ahead of the Delhi Assembly polls. Senior advocate Siddharth Agarwal, representing Hussain, informed that charges were framed against him after 3 years of custody and 115 witnesses had been cited by the prosecution. We are tracking the top business stories for the day. We bring you the latest updates on India's economic landscape. From the dollar rebounding sharply after Trump's return to chances of Indian exporters facing the brunt of US customs duties. Stay tuned as we delve into the key highlights shaping the business world today. The dollar rebounded sharply on Tuesday after plunging hours earlier as Donald Trump's first day back in the US presidency brought mixed messaging on tariffs and highlighted investors' sensitivity to headlines about trade policy. US stock futures rose after bouncing around on Monday as traders digested Trump's statements on economic policy and trade levies. While European equities eked out small gains, the Mexican peso and the Canadian dollar tumbled on Monday night, reversing sharp gains from earlier in the day. After Trump said he was mulling imposing 25% tariffs on the neighboring countries as soon as February 1st. That sent the Mexican peso sliding 1.3% against the US dollar, while the Canadian dollar tumbled to a 5-year low of 0.689 against the dollar. The wealth management sector in India is set for a notable expansion, with assets under management, that's AUM, projected to more than double from $1.1 trillion in FY24 to $2.3 trillion by FY29. The industry's growth is being driven by rising income levels, evolving macroeconomic factors, and an increasing appetite for financial services. Despite the financial wealth of affluent households reaching $1.1 trillion in FY24, a substantial $0.4 trillion is still managed informally or by individuals themselves, the report highlighted. With the wealth of these households expected to surge to $2.3 trillion in the next 5 years, the sector offers immense opportunities for established players and new entrants to cater to this untapped market. Indian exporters may face the brunt of elevated US customs duties on products like automobiles, textiles and pharmaceuticals if the American government advances protectionist policies under President Donald Trump's leadership. Trade analysts suggest that India must respond with equivalent measures to safeguard its economic interests. Ajay, founder of the Global Trade Research Initiative, stressed that India has previously demonstrated its ability to respond effectively to US trade actions. Deloitte India has projected India's GDP to grow between 6.5% and 6.8% in the fiscal year 2024-25. This forecast underscores the need for India to adapt to a rapidly changing global landscape while harnessing its domestic strengths to sustain economic growth. In its Economic Outlook report, Deloitte emphasized the importance of India's decoupling from the global uncertainties. The country's ability to tap into its untapped domestic potential will be key to driving sustainable growth. Despite challenges, India is resilient, especially through increased high-value manufacturing exports, particularly in electronics and machinery. President-elect Donald Trump is gearing up for a fresh wave of tariffs, fulfilling his campaign promise to revamp U.S. trade policy. Nomura's recent report predicts significant hikes, particularly for Chinese imports, and broader tariffs on other global trading partners. China faces the most substantial impact, with tariffs expected to rise by 35 percentage points, bringing effective rates to 60%. This move marks a strategic escalation from the trade policies of Trump's first term. Moving on to our international segment, where we're tracking the ground pulse of some of the biggest global headlines. Today, we delve into the significant developments from around the world, from Trump withdrawing US from the WHO to China calling for efforts to strengthen Russia-China ties. Stay tuned as we unravel the latest updates shaping the global landscape. President Donald Trump's cabinet has officially begun taking place as Marco Rubio became his first pick to swear in and become a part of the Trump team. The Senate quickly confirmed Rubio, voting unanimously to give Trump the first member of his new cabinet on Inauguration Day. Rubio, the Republican senator from Florida, is among the least controversial of Trump's nominees, and the vote was decisive, 99 against 0. On his first full day as Secretary of State, Rubio is due to meet his counterparts from a group of countries known as the Quad: the United States, plus India, Japan and Australia, representing nearly 2 billion people and more than a third of the global GDP.
Obviously, it's an honor to be with the Vice President, who I think is going to be phenomenal. Someone I knew and admired and actually relied on for policy ideas before he was even elected to the Senate. And now will do an extraordinary job for the President. I can't think of a better voice for the world and for the President's policies. As far as the task ahead, President Trump was elected to keep promises, and he's going to keep those promises. And his primary promise when it comes to foreign policy is that the priority of the United States Department of State will be the United States.
President Donald Trump has once again withdrawn the United States from the World Health Organization. It is the second time in less than 5 years that Trump has ordered the country to withdraw from the organization. Despite it being a move many scientists fear could roll back decades-long gains made in fighting infectious diseases like AIDS, malaria and tuberculosis.
So we paid $500 million to World Health when I was here, and I terminated it. China with 1.4 billion people. We have 350 to pay. Nobody knows what we have because so many people came in illegally, but let's say we have 325. They had 1.4 billion. They were paying 39 million, we were paying 500 million. It seemed a little unfair to me. So that wasn't the reason, but I dropped out. They offered me to come back for 39 million. In theory, it should be less than that, but you know.
Afghanistan's Taliban government announced the release of 2 Americans in a prisoner exchange. While Taliban did not share further details, reports suggest that the American nationals were being exchanged for Khan Muhammad, who was arrested in the eastern Afghan province of Nangarhar 2 decades ago and has been serving a life sentence in a California prison. The family of Ryan Corbett, one of the Americans in the exchange, said Tuesday their hearts were filled with gratitude for the U.S. government to bring Corbett back home after the last 894 challenging days. Corbett, who lived in Afghanistan with his family at the time of the 2021 collapse of the U.S.-backed government, was abducted by the Taliban in August 2022 while on a business trip. The Afghan Foreign Ministry said the prisoner exchange was the result of a long and fruitful negotiations with the US and was a good example of solving problems through dialogue. Chinese President Xi Jinping called for joint efforts to strengthen China-Russia relations. The leader backed a statement citing that the stability and resilience of their bilateral relationship can better cope with the uncertainties of a challenging global environment. Xi expressed his pleasure at meeting with Putin ahead of the Chinese New Year, which falls on January 29th this year, describing it as a time for reflection and planning. Putin also said he agrees with Xi's views, saying that Russia-China cooperation is built on a broad commonality of national interests. A spokesman of Qatar's foreign ministry said that the ceasefire in Gaza offers hope for a better future, urging the international community to actively support its continuation and work towards lasting peace. His remarks come just days into a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip that is supposed to last for 6 weeks and see 33 militant-held hostages released in return for hundreds of Palestinians imprisoned by Israel. The United States, Egypt and Qatar have mediated the long-running efforts to hold the fighting in the ravaged Palestinian territory. The deal was announced in the final days of Joe Biden's term in office as President of the United States and just a few days before Donald Trump's presidential inauguration.
هذه المسألة كما تعلمون ما زلنا نعمل عليها مع الأطراف وسيتم إصدار بيان حولها في حينه لا نعلق عليه.
Emirati President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan held talks with members of the Taliban's government in Afghanistan on January 21st. As the two countries begin a fresh round of bilateral talks, Haqqani is still wanted by the US on an up to $10 million bounty over his involvement in an attack that killed an American citizen and other assaults. He had previously met with Sheikh Mohammed, the ruler of Abu Dhabi, in June 2024. South Korea's impeached president attended a constitutional court hearing on January 21st. As the probe over his martial law declaration continues, this is the first time an impeached South Korean president has appeared at a constitutional court hearing. The leader backed his decision of imposing a martial law and fought allegations that the leader called upon the military to throw lawmakers from the National Assembly. Yoon reiterated that his mobilization of the troops wasn't aimed at frustrating a vote on his decree, rather a precautionary measure in case the assembly turned violent. The Constitutional Court has until June to decide to determine whether to formally dismiss the leader or reinstate him. All right, viewers, it's time to dive into the world of sports with our segment dedicated to all the action-packed highlights and exciting matchups. Today, we bring you the latest updates from the IOC sessions as the International Cricket Council Chairman S Jaishankar held discussions with the International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach. Stay tuned as we unravel the story and keep listening to all the buzz right here on our sports segment. Novak Djokovic refused to let anything stop his pursuit of a record 25th Grand Slam trophy in the Australian Open quarterfinals. Not a problem with his left leg, not an early deficit, and not the kid across the net, Carlos Alcaraz, who was making things difficult. Allowing his own bit of history, Djokovic overcame it all, just as he was so often along the way to so many triumphs, moving into the semi-finals at the Melbourne Park for the 12th time with a 4-6, 6-4, 6-3, 6-4 victory over Alcaraz in a scintillating showdown. Shreyas Iyer might have led the Kolkata Knight Riders to their third IPL title in 2024, but the franchise did not retain the right-handed batter ahead of the mega auction. Recently, Shreyas revealed a lack of communication with the management before the retention deadline. Former India batter Akash Chopra has now contradicted Iyer, saying there were discussions between Shreyas Iyer and KKR. However, neither party was able to find a common ground. International Cricket Council Chairman S Jaishankar has held discussions with the International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach ahead of the extraordinary IOC session in Lausanne from January 30th as the sports inclusion at the Summer Games beyond the 2028 edition continues to gather pace. The ICC posted images from the meeting of the two leading administrators on social media. Alex Hales became the only second batter in T20 cricket history to smash 2,000 boundaries in total in the shortest format during the International League T20 game against Dubai Capitals. Playing for the Desert Vipers, Hales scored 34 of 31 in which he smashed 2 fours and as many boundaries. Hales was set at 1,997 boundaries, 1,459 fours, 538 sixes before he got to the mark. Hales is the only second batter after Chris Gayle to score 2,000 plus boundaries in T20 cricket, and the next best is more than 250 boundaries away. Brendan McCullum has named his first 11 in charge of the white ball team for the T20 International Series opener against India in Kolkata. Jos Buttler, the captain, will continue to bat at number 3, with Phil Salt set to continue the duty behind the stumps, and paceman Mark Wood has returned to the lineup for the first time since August last year. Wood suffered an elbow injury during the Manchester Test against Sri Lanka and was ruled out of action for the rest of the year. Suryakumar Yadav and Mohammad Siraj are the two players who featured in the ODI World Cup 2023 final, but failed to retain their spot for the upcoming Champions Trophy 2025 starting February 19. Ahead of the first T20 International against England at the Eden Gardens in Kolkata, T20 International captain Suryakumar revealed that he wasn't hurt by BCCI's decision to not including him in the Champions Trophy squad. The Mumbai-born explained that he hadn't done enough to get into the 15-member squad and was happy with the team's selection. He also added that deserving cricketers got into the team and he wasn't one of them. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, or the BCCI, recently issued guidelines that restricted the players from having their families for more than 14 days in a long tour, which lasts more than 45 days. In case the tour lasts less than 30 days, the families are allowed to accompany the cricketers for a maximum of 7 days. Amid this, England white ball captain Jos Buttler highlighted the importance of having families on tour with the players. The three Lions are currently in India for a white ball series, and ahead of the first T20 International in Kolkata, Buttler noted that the presence of their family doesn't affect the game. Rather, he feels that it is important in the busy schedule. Tracking the buzz, it's time to delve into the world of entertainment. Today, we bring you highlights from the Mahakumbh, where actress Ada Sharma attended the Kumbh Mela and performed the Shiv Tandav Srotam and chants of Har Har Mahadev. This and more as we unravel all the latest updates from entertainment industry this morning. Actress Ada Sharma attended the Mahakumbh Mela 2025 in Prayagraj on January 20th. Where she performed the Shiv Tandav Srotam and chants of Har Har Mahadev. The 45-day Mahakumbh Mela 2025 started on January 13th in Prayagraj, Uttar Pradesh. As millions of devotees pour in to attend this rare festival that happens every 144 years, the actress took to social media platform Instagram to share the moments from the festival with her fans. Sharma penned a long note reflecting upon her spiritual journey and concluded her note by mentioning she might return to the Kumbh Mela before it ends in February. According to reports, more than 5.33 million devotees took a holy dip on the 8th day of the Kumbh Mela on January 20th. Singers Kailash Kher, Shankar Mahadevan, Kavita Krishnamurti and several other top artists are scheduled to perform in the holy city of Prayagraj during the course of the Mahakumbh. Trevor Noah will host the show for the 5th consecutive time. The Grammys announced on January 21st. The comedian, best known for hosting Comedy Central's The Daily Show from 2015 to 2022, will once again be in front and center February 2nd when the award show is broadcast live. The only other people to host 5 or more Grammy telecasts were musical artists Andy Williams and John Denver. In addition to host, Noah is also going to be a producer and a nominee. This time, Trevor Noah up against Chappelle Roan, Ricky Gervais, Jim Gaffigan and Nikki Glaser for the win. Beyonce goes into the night with the most nods. Cowboy Carter is up for Album and Country Album of the Year, and Texas Hold'em is nominated for Record, Song and Country Song of the Year. Post Malone is just behind Beyonce with 7 nominations, tied with Billie Eilish, Kendrick Lamar and Charli XCX, who earned her first nominations as a solo artist. Giorgio Armani's menswear collection, previewed on the final day of Milan Fashion Week, was all about catching the light, which the 90-year-old designer achieved with shimmering textiles and a smattering of crystals. Armani closed 4 days of the menswear previews for Fall-Winter 2025-26 at his historic headquarters on the Via Borgonovo, freeing the fashion crowd to head to Paris for the next round. The runway show was set deep inside the headquarters to a rhythmic, almost club beat. Brimmed hats gave structure to the soft silhouette on the wintry velvet and corduroy, complemented by shimmering textiles that grabbed the light. Jewel tones of ruby, emerald and sapphire brightened a neutral palette. Delicate crystal pins decorated evening wear lapels. A handful of women's looks emphasized the versatility of the menswear silhouette. The show closed with couples dressed for a festive evening, glistening with sequins and crystals for him and for her. Armani took a final bow, wearing a blue velvet jacket underlining his hallmark of comfort and elegance. Trisha Tutul launched the official Berlinale selection in Berlin on January 21st. The 75th Berlin International Film Festival, which will take place between 13th and 23 February 2025, will see 19 films compete for the prestigious Golden and Silver Bears, with American director Todd Haynes leading this year's jury and Tilda Swinton due to receive an honorary Golden Bear. Tutul, who took over from former Berlinale director Carlo Chatrian in April 2024, previously acted as director of the BFI London Film Festival.
In our 75th year, we reflect on how the festival's past remains very relevant to our present. Not only in filmmakers who return to the festival again and again, as with alumni filmmaker Tom Tykwer, who is opening the festival this year, Tilda Swinton, who's our honorary Golden Bear winner and has been to the festival, her films have been to the festival 26 times, but also Todd Haynes, our jury president this year.
And that's a wrap for today's segment of Quick Morning. Don't go anywhere, viewers, as we'll be right back tracking the top headlines and biggest stories from across the globe, only on Republic TV.